بكم في الفيديو الخاص بالروبريك كونستراكشن. لو نتذكر مع بعض الكونتنتس بتاعت الكورس فايل، اتكلمنا قبل كده على الكورس سبيسيفيكيشن وعملنا كورس ريبورت. طبعا حضراتكم المفروض تبقوا مجهزين السي فيز والسمستر سكيدجول والاوفيس اورز. احنا عملنا برضو تمارين على الماتريسيز الاي ال اوز مع الكورس كونتنت والتيتشنج والليرنينج ميثودز والاسسمنت ميثودز. طبعا لازم يتواجد داخل الكورس فايل سامبلز من ستودنتس اساينمنتس والبروجكتس والريسيرش واي حاجه بيعملوها ككورس ورك اكتيفيتيز. وعملنا برضو فيديو على البلو برنت. طبعا النهارده هنتكلم عن الروبريكس. طبعا لازم يكون في ستودنتس كورس ريزلتس بعد ما ان شاء الله السمستر يخلص، بتاخدوا فيدباك برضو من ستودنتس كورس اكزامز، وطبعا لازم الموديل انسرز، وان شاء الله هنعمل انترنال ايفالويشن على الكورس فايل وهيبقى في ريبورت ليها. وطبعا اتفقنا ان اكسترنال ايفالويتور ريبورت اللي احنا بعته لحضراتكم كتمبلت علشان المراجعه الخارجي للبرنامج الخاص بحضراتكم. طيب روبريكس هو جريدنج تول عشان بيعمل عمليه بروموشن للكونسيستنت ابلكيشن اوف الليرنينج اكسبكتيشنز. طيب احنا ليه بنستعمل الروبريكس؟ الحقيقه لينا احنا كانستراكتورز كتيتشرز كستاف ممبرز to facilitate الكوميونيكيشن ما بيننا علشان نقدر نعمل سكورينج بروبر سكورينج للطلبه بتوعنا. وات ذا سيم تايم بناخد فيدباك علشان نقدر نعرف فين الاماكن اللي الطالب لسه يعني مش واصل للكومبليت بيرفكشن او الاكسبكتيشن اللي احنا بتاعتنا. So in order to refine teaching and learning activities. It helps the student to monitor and to critique their own work based on the rubric levels. So when do we use this rubrics? في أي تاسك بنعملها performance based like projects, presentations, portfolios, practical tasks, you use the rubrics. Experts agree that rubrics are hard to design. If you tell me that rubrics is easy to design, then you are not constructing a proper rubric. At the same time, madam hard to design, يبقى time consuming. So the types of rubrics, we have two types, holistic and analytic. طبعا holistic من الاسم holistic, it means as a whole، يعني كأننا we are taking the performance or the production of the student as a whole. We describe characteristics of all what is expected from the student with different levels of performance as a total كده اهوت يعني. اما الاناليتيك او descriptive type of rubric فهو بيبقى فيه separate criteria of performance defined, independently valued and scored زي ما هنشوف دلوقتي. So if I make a comparison between holistic and analytic type of rubrics, الholistic بيبقى single graded، اما الاناليتيك بيبقى multi component grading as we will see shortly. Holistic doesn't provide targeted feedback on student performance, whereas analytic we can provide more specified target feedback. When we're talking about the advantages of holistic, it saves time in developing and scoring, and of course will be good. At the same time, طبعا الanalytic it provides judgment on each criteria. We have several criteria, and we are judging each criteria separately. The disadvantage of the holistic, it doesn't provide specific feedback for improvement. I can't improve a certain criteria if I don't know, because I've done it all total like we will see shortly. And the disadvantage of the analytic, it's actually time consuming and very hard to construct. This is an example of a rubric, holistic rubric. You can see exceeds expectations, meets expectations, fails to meet expectations. This is the level of performance. Exceeds expectations, wallahi, all directions are in the imperative form. 90% of directions were correct, more than 6 directions are used, grammatical error are minor and don't impede, comprehensibility includes more than 4 or more physical references with descriptions. Where is the criteria? Can you specify a certain criteria that we are valid? It's not. It's all as a whole. Okay. Amma rubric, it's totally different because it consists of actually coherent criteria, a set of coherent criteria, we put it this way. Then levels of performance, like here, excellent, good, satisfactory, needs improvement. These are the performance ratings. And then inside the table we are describing each performance Why do I give excellent for the components of the report? Because all required elements are present and additional elements that add to the report. For example, thoughtful comments. So this is what it means that I give the student excellent. That needs improvement, well, several required elements are missing. So he gets here مثلا 1 out of 4 مثلا, supposedly, okay? So yes, we have to give grades, we have to give a score. So excellent in this rubric, excellent is 3, good means 2, 4 means 1. So we give a score to the level of performance, and this is the task history research or a paper rubric, okay? Then these are the criteria, and these are the descriptors that we are describing. Number of sources, he gets excellent if he gets 10 to 12 sources of information in writing his research on history, perhaps. And this is the difference between holistic and analytic. You can see that it's very, very important to know and realize the difference between holistic and analytic rubric. Now, which would I prefer to do and construct in order to know the level of performance of a student for certain criteria? Of course, definitely the analytic type of rubric. So let's take an example. This is a cookie. And the task is make a chocolate chip cookie that I would want to eat. Okay, so this is the task. This is what is expected the student to do, to perform. If we are having range of performance, well, he will get a score of 4 if it's delicious, 3 if it's tasty, 2 if it's edible. Edible means it could be eaten, and 1 not yet edible. It's still raw. Okay. By criteria, number of chips, texture, taste, and richness. These are the criteria that we will put in our table. Now let's see the table, how it looks. So this is our table, number of chips, texture, color, and richness. These are the score, 4, 3, 2, 1, and this is the level of performance, delicious, tasty, and edible, not yet edible, and these are the descriptors. If the student gives me a chocolate chip cookie with chips in every bite, he gets 4 out of 4. If 75% of chips, then 3. If less than 50% chips in a bite, then he gets 1. So this is how we give our scoring to our students. So let's take examples. Now this is an example here. These are the criteria: knowledge about the disease, pain assessment, strength assessment, communication with the patient. So this is actually like a practical or a clinical exam. Poor, he gets a score of 1, insufficient gets a score of 2, 4 gets a score of 4, and excellent, he gets a score of 5. And these are the description of each performance that the student is. Why am I going to give him 2 in knowledge about the disease? The student defines the disease but does not know the symptoms and prognosis of the disease, so he gets 2 because it's insufficient. If it's poor, the student does not know or doesn't have the knowledge about the disease, so he gets 1. That's what he deserves. And this is even online discussion. We can have a rubric for online discussion. These are the criteria and these are the scores, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are the descriptors for an online discussion. This is also here, organization, subject knowledge, eye contact, locution, familiarity with the case study. So fair, poor, fair, good, or excellent. And so this is a student presentation on case study. Total marks is 20 because, of course, we have 5 criteria and the high score is 4, so 4 times 5 is 20. So out of 20, the student will get maybe 2 here, get 3 here, get 4 here, get 2 here, get 3 here, and we add up, and for each student, he will have his own rubric table. So tips on designing rubrics, let's see. First of all, use your own rubric. Design your own rubric. Construct your own rubric. Do not use generic or canned or online rubrics or templates that are done for you. No, you know what you want out of your students. You know what you expect your students after you've given your course, what you want from him as regards the task that you have asked. Limit the number of criteria. كل ما الكرايتيريا زادت كل ما كانت العملية هتبقى أصعب في التقييم. And what's really important is use measurable criteria, something that I can really measure, okay? And the student understand the criteria and descriptors. Now, if you tell me I will not tell my students how I'm score, this is totally wrong. You have to give the students the rubric. He has to know. Believe it or not, we prefer that the students are given the rubrics from the beginning of the year, so that for the semester, because in this way it makes it easier for him to know how he will be graded, how he will be scored, and to take into consideration each step that he is doing. He's being graded and scored according to certain descriptors that are inside the rubric. And it includes things in creating, yes, or adapting the rubrics, yes. Better assessment means better teaching, and this means that better learning, and this means, of course, that we have better students. Better students means that we are giving them better opportunities for a better life. And thank you very much indeed for your listening and your attention, and hope to see you in another video on any of our quality assurance measures and procedures. Thank you very much.